Go. Welcome back to the Acoustic Shop channel. I am John. Hey guys, it is New Guitar Thursday. Cannonball!
You are live.
Hi, welcome back to another Takeover Tuesday. I am the guitar player of the shop, as you can tell by that last little riff I played. No, I'm not. I play mandolin, and sometimes I pick up a guitar and hold it next to John and let him shine. Guys, today we're going to be talking about NAMM. NAMM show is going to be happening next week. This time next week, we will be in Anaheim, California, soaking up the sun. It is -4 degrees, or it was -4 degrees this morning here in Missouri. I think we got up to a high balmy 8 degrees right now, I think is our current temperature. So it's really looking forward to California next week. But that being said, we're going to be mostly indoors for the NAMM show. We have got an incredible schedule already laid out. We do have a few openings in there that are still waiting to be filled, but it is going to be a lot of work, but a lot of fun. A lot of new gear we're going to be seeing, a lot of interviews we're going to be doing with some of the manufacturers that are designing some of these instruments that we just love so much. We've got some breakfast sessions that we're actually going to perform at one of the breakfast sessions with Jens Kruger. We're going to be doing a bunch of seminars. They got classes on how to run a business. We need as many of those as we can take. But we're also going to be giving a 1-hour YouTube content creation course. That's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a fun week. We want you guys to make sure you're going to tune in all week long. Right now, tell us where you're watching from. If you have any questions, put those in the comments. Janelle is monitoring that, as well as Hinkley next door. She's going to be putting links to any information you guys may have. But we were talking this morning about ways to really engage you folks when you're watching at home. We're going to try to do some fun stuff where we're going to give you guys some fun phrases that we have to fit into our interviews with different manufacturers. You guys get to choose what we have to say, and we're going to try to fit it into those little interviews we're doing with people without looking stupid. So we're going to come up with some fun ones. We're also going to be doing a contest. You have to watch the videos, and we're going to be doing basically a trivia question on things that happen at the NAMM show. And that next week, we're going to be giving away a Breed Love. I think it was the, what is the guitar? I think it's, do you remember? Hinkley can fill it in right now. It is the, I can't remember which one it was. Out. They're going to be helping us out with a Breed Love guitar. We're going to be giving away to whoever, you get an entry into the drawing if you fill out all the trivia questions correctly from the NAMM show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right now, also, if you guys get a chance, go to NAMM.org, NAMM, that's the National Associations of Music Merchants, and go check out the people that are going to be attending. If you go to that left side of it, it'll show you the NAMM Show 2024, and then you can see a list of attendees. If there's anybody you guys want us to go by and see, we will try to fit it into our schedule and go live with those folks. We already have a pretty extensive, do we have any comments from people watching from anywhere right now?
We have lots of people watching. I have seen
Where are you
Virginia,
guys watching from? How cold is it?
a couple from Virginia.
I think the entire nation is in a cold snap
North
right now.
Carolina, NYC, Oregon, more Virginia.
So Wednesday, guys, we got our retail financial summit going on. That's one we're attending to really learn about how to run a business. But then we're going to break away from that and go live from the Martin. They're going to be doing a preview for their media team, Martin preview of their newest gear. We already seen kind of a highlight or preview of one of the new guitars they've come out with, a very cool sustainable harvested guitar they're going to be unveiling at the NAMM show. So that's going to be really cool. And then the Top 100 Awards, we're part of the Top 100. We were selected again as a Top 100 dealer. The award show is that evening from 5 to 7. So we'll go live a little bit on Wednesday, but then the real excitement happens on Thursday. We're going to be doing an Eastman walkthrough at their booth early in the morning, about 10:30. Then we perform out on the ADJ Arena Plaza stage at noon. That's going to be with Jens Kruger and John Jason and I, the Chapman brothers. Then again, we're going to go to the Martin booth, the actual booth, and do a walkthrough of that. We've done that the last 2 years. Last year we got to do their 2.5 millionth guitar that they've built, which was an incredible showpiece there. I'm sure they're going to have some really cool stuff. And John and Fred always do a great job doing a live walkthrough. If you guys have questions for Martin, send those to us now. We'll try to ask those questions directly to the source, get the information you guys are looking for. Then we were invited to be part of the NAMM Chairs Global Reception that evening. And then the next day we do the breakfast session at a fun 6 a.m. sound check. I'm looking forward to that, guys. Nothing like singing at 6 a.m., even if it is Pacific Standard Time. Then we're going by the NewX booth, and we're going to put a schedule on our social media pages so you guys know when to tune in. We're going to send an email blast out. We're going to go to Deering, Firk, Iris Guitars, Bourgeois, Calling, Santa Cruz. That's all Friday. Then we got Bedell and Breedlove on Saturday, Loudon. A whole bunch of stuff still being confirmed. So if there's somebody on that list that we haven't made an appointment with and you'd like us to go by and see, we always leave some extra space in there to do some random walkthroughs. This is going to be Janelle's first trip there. Also, Austin hasn't been back in a few years, but it'll be his first time attending as an Acoustic shop member. And we're going to send him out to find some cool new products to bring home. But if you guys got stuff you want us to see, make sure you tell us about it, and we'll do our best to go see those guys. Again, go to namm.org, see the list of attendees, and tell us who you want to see from. I know we're going to be visiting with Music Nomad as well. String Joy is going to be there. We're going to talk to those folks. And we're going to try to do some cool specials of stuff going on at the store as well. So maybe some store flash sales or contests going on. We really want to involve the staff that is staying behind, keeping the shop running while we're over there. I'd like to say soaking up the rays, but we get like 300,000 steps in when we're over there. It is a huge show. And it seems like when we schedule these booth meetings, one booth is way over here, then we have to walk all the way to the other end of the arena, then back to the other end. It's exhausting, but it's going to be totally worth it. Janelle, we have some comments or questions?
Tex would like to know if we're getting a copy of the Martin Alien guitar.
The Martin Alien guitar. I've got to see that. I haven't seen it. Is that the Area 51 guitar or something?
Do we get to go to Area 51?
We'll have to go see that. I do know they have this new one with a very cool brace that they're doing where they actually use lasers to cut out some of the bulkiness of the braces, letting the top be a little bit more resonant with just as much strength to it. So it looks really cool. We saw some email releases of this new guitar. It's going to be a full, I think it's an all maple guitar made with U.S. harvested maple, part of their sustainability efforts, which we really are totally into. I don't know if we mentioned at the end of last year, we planted 3,377 trees to date for one tree planted. So every guitar that you guys buy, we make sure the manufacturer is sustainably harvesting those, and that's passing the NFC, National Forestry Council standards, which is no clear cutting, and also replanting of the forest that they do use for harvesting. If they pass that, we plant one tree anyway. We're going to plant one tree for every guitar that is part of that. And if we can't confirm or we know that they aren't really living up to that, we plant 5 trees for every guitar. And we're really going to spend part of our time at the NAMM show kind of pressuring those manufacturers to say, hey, are you really paying attention to sustainability? We know that Martin is, so that would be really cool to talk to those guys about that effort. And obviously, these carbon fiber guitars, I mean, I think there's zero harvesting of wood for that. So that's a very cool, a cool instrument. And also, you can play that outdoors in -4-degree weather. So McPherson passes the test. We'll have to talk to him about their wood guitars, but I'm sure with Matt McPherson, he's very conscientious to the sustainability efforts that they do with hunting. So I'm sure he's doing the same with the tone woods that they're using.
Want to hear some of the things
I
people
do.
are
I would love to hear from the folks.
We have people wanting to hear more from Santa Cruz.
Yes,
Callings Mandolins.
Santa Cruz is going to be cool, and we've got a very special project. It's top secret. We can't tell you guys about it, but we're going to be bringing a guitar out there to show to Richard Hoover and talk to him about this guitar. You're going to want to see that. We're going to make a whole video segment of that, but we'll also go live for a portion of that. Santa Cruz always brings some incredible stuff, including their ancient Sitka spruce and just some stuff. Those guys, they do so many cool guitar projects, and they save the really coolest ones for the NAMM show. Callings, I can't wait to see some of the mandolins. Callings hasn't been to the NAMM show in the last 2 or 3 years since COVID hit, so this will be their first time back at the show. Really looking forward to seeing what they're bringing to the show, both in the guitars and mandolin world. Mandolins are pretty lacking, but I know there's something new coming from Eastman, so that's my excitement. See what is new in the mandolin world at NAMM.
There is another one for close mandolins.
Close mandolins. So Close is going to be doing Close or Klaus. They are the carbon fiber. We actually became a dealer for those guys, so we have put together our initial order. We're ordering some of the guitars, but we do have the new carbon fiber mandolin from Close Guitars. I guess it would be Close Instruments, Klaus. That's the first question. How do you say it, Close or Klaus? But yeah, carbon fiber mandolin. It has been teased for a long time on Mandolin Cafe and a number of other mandolin forums. They have the prototypes out. I'm sure they will be at the NAMM show. I am going to play that mandolin and let you guys see and hear what it sounds like. We will have some on order for the shop as well. Can't wait to get those in because I have been dying for a carbon fiber mandolin just for the ability to travel with it, leave it in your car. Right now, when I go out and do a show with my mandolin and I go out to eat afterwards, I have to carry that mandolin in with me because I just don't trust it either in the summer in the heat or in the winter in the cold. Having a carbon fiber instrument would be very cool for those reasons.
Apparently the Alien guitar is a green colored top Area 51 guitar.
All right, we will go see that for Tex. We're going to go see the green Area 51 Martin guitar. I know they also had the 420 guitar. I don't know if that'll be there again this year. That was when California legalized marijuana. They made a guitar to commemorate that. Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of guys that enjoyed that one. And it came with a free bag of Cheetos, so for all the munchies out there.
Somebody wants you to do a dog lick, D-A-W-G.
That's a David Grisman dog music. All right, I am a huge fan of David Grisman. I wish it was better. We had tried to put together a David Grisman cover band, and it's so difficult that it's hard to rehearse and. Maybe I shouldn't have picked such a hard one. David Grisman. Or one of my favorite David Grisman looks, he does a lot of those. So I like to do yay, David Grisman, my hero. David Grisman has the best chord knowledge. Maybe him and Mike Marshall just seem to know every possible chord configuration. I got a David Grisman book given to me once by a very nice musician. I need to revisit it now that I'm a little better musician because at the time it was way over my head. But learning some of these cool, so that would be like a D major 7. And that's a D minor dominant 7. So Grisman would just come up with these cool. So yeah, he seemed to know every possible chord on the mandolin. One of my favorites is this. I guess that's a diminished chord there. Yeah, that's my dog stuff for you.
Your opinions on the Hind versus Elias versus Gibson F5G mandolins.
I think they all deserve to be used in that same sentence. The Hind versus Elias versus Gibson F5G. All of them are at that kind of top boutique build of mandolins that kind of really set the standard for U.S. built instruments. The cool thing about mandolins, they are very labor intensive but also passion driven build. It takes a lot of work to hand carve the tops and back and side, and a lot of skill, a lot of trial and error. It seems like every good mandolin builder, their first few, they're just learning so much on how to graduate the tops, how to work on the finish and the fit and finish of the instrument, and they just get better and better with time. Steven, I think he's up to, I think about 80 or more than that, probably 180 instruments that he's built. And you just learn over the time how to improve on each one. Same thing with the Elias. They have just been, everyone that I've played is better and better than the last. I think we recently sold our Elias, or we had a fellow ready to buy it. I don't know if it's still here or not. It is, it's still there. So that fella did not, he missed out. He was asking me all about it, ready to pull the trigger. But it's an incredible mandolin. The F5Gs, we've done a full review on those. I think they're building some of their best Gibsons that they've done in a while, and they actually lowered the price on it. So what you're going to see, the biggest difference I think you're going to see, and I've talked about this for a while, is on the independent builders, they're having to have all the hats. They're wearing hats stacked on top of hats, and that includes knowing how to graduate the top, select the wood, do all the binding and all the really intricate stuff, neck fitting, fit that dovetail joint so it's perfect, make sure the neck angle's just right, cutting the fret. I mean, all the different steps they have to know. And the hardest one that I've talked to everyone to really master is finish work. And I'm talking spraying finish on there. It just takes years and years to accomplish. And most of the top finish guys, that's all they do. They are just finish people. And a lot of the really good builders are now starting to outsource that because it is so specialized. It just takes a lot of expertise. So I think you're going to find on the independent builders that are wearing all the hats, that's the hardest thing for them to master. And that's not to say that it's not a fine finish. It's just not as perfect as like a Gibson finish will be. You got a guy at Gibson just dedicated to doing Gibson finishes, and they look gorgeous and perfect, and they do the guitars and mandolins. Or the guys that are doing their own, you'll see a few little, like if you get a single dust speck in there, it leaves a tiny bubble in the finish. And you know they have to have the perfect conditions and the expertise to just completely master it. So that is my one thing that you will find on a lot of independent builders that kind of separates those $18,000 instruments from the $8,000 to $9,000 instruments. And it's not a huge thing. It wouldn't bother me at all. I do know some people that are like, if I spend $8,000 on an instrument, it better be perfect. I understand that as well, but it's hard to get all those hats to the level that you're expecting. That's where Gibson, those guys, they each have their different steps that they do along the way.
What is a good entry-level F-style boutique mandolin for 3 to 4K?
Oh, good question. I think the Northfields are a really good instrument. They should be counted in a boutique, but some of their more boutique ones definitely jump that $5,000 to $8,000 range. In that $3,000 to $4,000, I think I would put the bourgeois mandolins in there, the F-style bourgeois mandolins. They're still built by the folks that build the Eastman, but they're built to the specs of Dana Bourgeois. He did a few things different, the wider nut, full torified maple back and side, spruce top. Even the neck is torified. Everyone we've had in here has just been an incredible instrument. And again, the folks at Eastman do a great job with finish. Their finish work is excellent, and they're using the same finish that was developed by Dana and his team, the True Tone finish. So I'd put that in that price range as one option you should look at. Bulis mandolins or Buis mandolins we're just starting to get in. Those, I think, fit in that price range. Some of them go, I think, around that $4,000 range. Really, to say boutique and $3,000 is hard, because when you get to boutique, and this isn't because they're being selfish and greedy, it takes so many hours. And if their wife is saying, all right, you just spent 200 hours building that instrument, you're making $3 an hour if you sell it for $3,000. Nope. It is totally and all about the amount of time it takes them to build these instruments. It is a labor-intensive thing. And also, I've talked about this with, well, two things. One is then they sell it to a retailer that then has to have some markup so that it makes sense for them to sell it. So then, again, if you take what they're getting out of it, it's a little less than what we're selling it for. But also, one of my favorite stories was the Picasso story, where he was walking through the park one day, and this woman came up to him and said, oh, Mr. Picasso, could you please draw a portrait of my dog? And he did this really quick scribble, and it's a famous wiener dog image that you can find. And he just did it, and it took him like 30 seconds. And he handed it to her and said, that'll be $400 or something like that. I don't know the exact number. And she says, $400? It just took you 30 seconds to do that. How can that cost $400? He said, ma'am, doing that little drawing of your dog took me 30 years, basically, all that practice of those 30 years to get to where he could do that thing. Same thing for these builders. It's not just those hours it takes them to build the instrument. It's the 30 or 40 or 80 that they had to build before there to really master the craft. So respect the process, I guess what I'd say. So it's hard to find a boutique mandolin in the $3,000 range for those reasons.
What model was that you just had? I
was just playing an Eastman MD315. We've talked about those before. A very cool, and we're talking the one I just had or the one that Trent was showing on the wall. So 315, that's my favorite beginner starter to mid. I could play one of those on stage, and I have numerous times. I have one of the 305s that I play on a number of shows. Those are my favorite, really hand-voiced, fully hand-built instrument, dovetail joint. We have one that Eastman, it was damaged one, so they cut the back off it. And you can see the dovetail joint on there. They fit those things so perfectly. Again, master craftsman's building those. Obviously, lower labor costs over in China. But I think those are great options for a boutique style build, not up to the quality. I wouldn't call this a boutique instrument, but to get a really affordable, easy to play, great sounding F-style mandolin, the 315, A-style 305. My favorite recommended instrument for anyone looking for a mandolin under $2,000.
How about Clark mandolins?
Clark mandolins, we had one in here on, did we sell that one? I think we did. There are some great builders. Again, that's the second problem, is the amount of time it takes them. They've already got most of them sold, so why go to a retailer, or they already had relationships built with some other retailers that they can't supply them enough mandolins. I know Elias, we've had about 4 of those on order since January. This is the only one we've got in so far. Not to knock those guys, they have other dealers and they have customers going directly to them that had instruments on order for a while. Same with Hind mandolins, we love to get those in, but it's difficult because the time it takes them to build a batch of 10 of them, they've already got 8 of them sold, so then we're on the next 6 months to get another one in here. So Clark mandolins, I've been seeing a lot of those online. I'm a part of the Mandolin Cafe and a lot of the Facebook groups on mandolins. There are some really good builders out there that I would love to have in the shop, but I know that they already have a waiting list. You guys know how we feel about the Weber mandolins, and we've had those on order for a couple of years now. I did talk to Ryan Fish last month. He said ours should be here in February. They've already shipped out the first couple of mandolins that he's built, and then he expects to get us one every month or 2 on a regular basis. Now that he's gearing up. But it just takes more effort than I would have thought, and every builder that I've ever known said mandolins are so difficult. I could build 5 to 8 guitars for every mandolin. It is a very difficult process, and that's why it's so hard to get them in here, which is a bummer to me. And that's why going to NAMM show, you're not going to see many of them, because it's not worth them setting up a booth and showing them at NAMM when they can't even supply all the people that are wanting them already. So I'm bummed about that, but I guess it's also a good thing because I picked a very specialized instrument that takes a lot of love and care to build. I was telling these guys, we've been showing off the Mando cello the last few weeks. I was at home practicing mine because I just love it so much, and I'm starting to really fall in love with it again. Yes?
Do you have a part number for the grommets yet?
No, but contact us and we'll mail you some, and we'll just put them in a bag and ship you some. I know they built a item in our point of sale system. They're not on the website yet. We may seem like a complete failure as far as following up on tasks, but we have a list of about 10,000 tasks, and we knock off about 2 or 3 a week. So. I've been practicing my, I forget what it's called, the prelude or something, the cello suite. My goal is to have this really down and to do like have Janelle film a Mandolin Mondays with me playing the full thing. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it is my goal to make that happen. It is such a beautiful piece. Mike Marshall did a really cool YouTube video of that, and I'm going to try to outdo him. But man, these Eastmans, I got the same model at home. I've had it about 5 years or 7 years, somewhere around there. It's great sounding Mando cello. I know it's not something you're going to use every day, but I've talked about this in the past, that you just come up with different ideas when you got something like this. I was just... You just kind of like start messing with it and come up with different things than you would on your mandolin. So it's definitely a cool tool to have for the performing musician that wants a different sound on stage, but also wants to come up with different ideas when they're writing, or just that hobbyist at home. that wants something really fun and interesting to play. Again, it's hard to find one for a very low price. This one from Eastman is $25.39, and this is a full arch top guitar, again, hand carved. And when I say hand carved, guys, I've seen the slabs they start out with. It's about I'd say 3/4 inch thick, or maybe a 1/2 inch thick. And they do use a CNC machine to take out the initial carving of it, and then they have to sit in there and hand carve the inside and outside so it follows that same contour, and the same with the back. It has this different one. So every one's going to be built a little bit different because they are actually using chisel and then a hand plane to really get that curving. And then before they assemble it, we got a piece out there, I can show you this too. They hold up that top and tap it, and we have a video of Dana Bourgeois doing this, and they can listen to that wood and find kind of, all right, this is a little dense, so we need to take a little bit off here, and they'll regraduate the top and have it thinner on the edges, thicker in the middle to give it the support. Very labor-intensive process, and also you have to be well experienced to know what you're doing.
Can a mandocello be tuned to an octave mandolin tuning?
I don't think so. An octave mandolin would be too. You'd have to tune that C all the way up to a G, which would be way too much tension on there. So no, I don't think you can do that. They do make octave mandolins in the guitar body, so you would still have this arch top guitar body, but an octave mandolin.
Are the F holes bound?
These ones are. I love that. The first time I saw that was on the Doyle Lawson edition Gibson. It was a signature model that Doyle Lawson came out with. I thought it was so classy to really make those F-holes stand out. But then I got to researching a little bit, and Doyle got his inspiration from some of the old arch top guitars. It's pretty traditional to do some of these, or not traditional, but not uncommon to do a bound F-hole. I think it was a little harder on a mandolin because they're so much smaller. But yeah, beautiful bound F-holes, that ivory binding all the way back sides. This is the 800 model. So that should be an Adirondack spruce top on this as well. Maple back and sides, bound front, back, sides. Even the heel of the neck has this really cool piece of ivory. And it's just a really great sounding instrument. Yeah, quit playing with it though.
Vince wants to know if we can bring him back an Eastman rectangular mandolin case from NAMM.
We are always asking them. They are only, what, 40 minutes away from where the NAMM show is held. Every year we end up going to the warehouse out there. They're in Pomona, California, and they just don't have any in there. So right now, Eastman does not manufacture cases. They buy cases from a manufacturer, and they normally buy the amount of cases for the amount of instruments they build. When they have spare cases, it's because an instrument didn't pass quality control or got broken shipping. Something prevented the instrument from passing, but then they have an extra case. And we have told them, if you come up with these rectangular cases, I have a student that bought one of the 815s that had a buckle issue on it. They're going to replace it, but they're still waiting to get another 815, but to get I think he wanted a Mandola hardshell case, I believe. We do have some of the octave hardshell cases. We did get a couple of those from them. I know we sold at least one of those, but is that right? He was waiting for an octave rectangular case?
Yes. It was definitely rectangular.
Or Mandola, sorry.
Mandolin.
Mandolin?
Yes.
So a rectangular mandolin, that should be more readily available because that comes, all their 600 and above will come in a rectangular case. 6 or maybe it's the 800 series and above comes in the oblong rectangular cases. So I'll check with them on that. They may have some of those available.
Alex A wants the Mandola case.
That's the one. Alex A wanting for the rectangular Mandola case. We are on their list as soon as they get a Mandola that does not pass quality control, which they do make the 800 series again in Mandola. I have that as well. So I've got an 815 standard mandolin, an 815 Mandola, and an 815, what do they call it, an 815 because it's got the guitar body. Is the 800 series. 805. 805, yep. So yeah, 805. So 800 series for the mandolin, mandola, and mandocello, and then I have the 300 series for the octave mandolin. I do know that was before they came out with the 600 series. I'm trying to convince myself that I need the 600 as well. But the 600 did come with a hardshell case, where the 300 series comes with a gig bag.
Bulldogger JK just wants you to know that the OM that we sold him sounds like a dreadnought. Can't wait to drop some jaws at the next jam.
That's always fun, is to go in one of those jams and everybody's like, oh, what's this guy doing? Look at this joker. And I do that with that. I did that at Spigma. I only took my Eastman MD305, which is kind of looked down on as like, oh, what is this hunk of junk beginner mandolin? And I went into a few jams and I was like, people were like, oh my goodness, what is that? Can I play that? And really turned some eyes. I think you're going to do the same, Bulldogger. It's it's always fun to go in a jam when people come in with expectations and then you actually strum it and they're like, oh, I guess I should apologize for my preconceived notions. Any other questions or comments? Any NAMM related stuff?
Not at the moment. Let us know if there's anything you want to see at NAMM. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be busy, but we announced earlier this year we're going to do more contests, more giveaways, more freebies. We're trying to figure out ways at the NAMM show. We're going to go to some of the booths and say, hey, do you want to give something to our viewers right now? And maybe they'll send us home with surprises. Most of them will probably say, get lost, people. Don't ask us for free stuff. But the ones that do give away free stuff, we're going to be passing that on to you guys. Like I said, we're going to be doing that big trivia event at the NAMM show, so make sure you're watching as many of those live streams as possible. It'll probably be a way that you don't have to answer every single question, but we want to make sure you guys are getting some fun out of that and some reward for tuning in. And then this is a kind of a fun last minute. How many of you guys out there watched Pee-wee's Playhouse when you were either kids or had kids? All the kids that work here have no idea what I'm talking about, but I remember Pee-wee's Playhouse. Every morning they would have the word of the day that Pee would get delivered and open it, and every time he accidentally said this word, the entire thing would go, ah, and yell. So we're going to try to do a version of that where we're going to let you guys select either the word of the day or a phrase that we have to fit into every interview we do with the different manufacturers there. They will have no clue why we're saying something random like my pizza's in my car. Whatever the phrase might be, you guys get to vote. We're going to put that up the night before. You vote on what we have to say, and then we're going to try to fit it in as many live streams as we can. Why? I don't know, because it's fun.
Are there any good replacement tailpiece options? I saw this one earlier. I think they were saying for the Eastman tailpiece.
Okay, so any good replacement tailpieces, if you are the original owner and you had one of the prongs break off on the cast tailpieces, they did go through a period of bad metal that just didn't hold up, so we've replaced a number of those. They have since fixed that problem, but if you're the original owner that is under warranty, you can either send it to us, we can send you a tailpiece, you can take it to your local luthier and they'll replace that. Or probably my favorite tailpiece is the James tailpiece. We normally carry those. I think we're out of stock right now, but those will be on our website if we do have them, and Hinckley will look that up. James tailpieces are great tailpieces. Most small builders, and I can show you what those are, most small builders have switched to the James tailpiece, including Elias. We got one on that. No, I guess that one's, yeah, it is. It's a James tailpiece. Hein Mandolins have switched to the James tailpiece. The James tailpiece on the Bourgeois Mandolins is James tailpiece. They all get their names kind of engraved on it, but it has a flip latch hinged top on that, so you don't have to slide that cover off, and it doesn't rattle as much. It does have the grommets built in, which I thought would completely eliminate these overtones on this end here, but I found that when I'm chopping, I still hear those strings ring a bit. It does stop the metal to string contact that you get with a lot of tailpieces, so those grommets really do help a lot. I still end up putting those ones in between the strings, but James tailpiece, that would be my go-to replacement. Normally the holes line up with whatever you're replacing, including the Eastman tailpieces. The downside is if you have a pickup installed, it will require drilling that tailpiece out, which again, if that's something you got here at the shop, we can do that for you. Look at this, I'm putting the tone right on there. People don't think it works, but we do. So.
Vince would like to see the Audigo mics if they're at NAMM.
Okay. I will look those up. I know that this year we're going to have the ear trumpet lab microphones going to be set up there. We're going to go by there. We've talked to them. We're going to become a dealer of ear trumpet lab microphones. We believe them. They're in all our live streams. If you watch our Takeover Tuesdays, that's what we're playing in front of. Sorry, not Takeover Tuesdays. Our Shop Talk on Wednesdays, and also all the guitar reviews. Those are the microphones that we use for those. Are the ear trumpet lab mics, and you probably see them on stage with a lot of your favorite acoustic acts are using those these days. So we want to make those readily available to our customers as well. Actually, a very cool boutique-built microphone. We'll be by their booths, but we'll take note of that one and see if we can find those guys as well. We don't do a lot with pro audio stuff. Not that we don't love it and use it. We just don't. We want to specialize in things we know a lot about, and we know a lot about acoustic instruments, not so much about microphones. Jason loves it, but it's constantly changing, so you have to really stay on top of that. Our dad is a nut about microphones. He has a microphone collection. Basically, all the money we made as the Chapmans went into buying more microphones. So we'll go check those guys out.
Any higher-end lefties?
Mandolins? Is that what we're talking about?
Unclear. I think they're looking forward to the higher-end lefties if we see them at NAMM.
So we're debating this, guys. It's a hard one because we don't want to leave anybody out. We're carrying a lot more left-handed instruments. They don't sell as often as right-handed. Obviously, there's more of a market for right-handed instruments. but that doesn't mean we don't want to carry them. It's just the debate on what are people looking for in a left-handed instrument. Like today we got an email that there was a left-handed 800 series, 815.
Yes, mandolin.
A left-handed 815 mandolin from Eastman. We were considering ordering it. We kind of held off. It is something you're interested in. An 815, that would be the Adirondack spruce top, maple back sides. I think this is a varnish too, an 815 varnish. If you're interested in that, let us know because there's one available right now. I think John might have passed on it this morning, but it's probably still available. So if that's something you're interested in, let us know. We can order that in, and we at least know there's a market for it that we were unsure on.
Michael says, I'm not a mandolin player, but I like hearing Jeremy talk about them.
Okay, well, I'm glad that somebody likes to listen to me talk about them. Corey, I know, just went next door to get, was a E20D left-handed or E?
I haven't got it yet.
Okay, but we were just talking about higher-end left-handed instruments. John, somebody wants a high-end left-handed mandolin.
I know where there's one.
There's a left-handed 815 varnish if anybody's left-handed and interested. Yep. I guess put it on our list, and this person can either buy it or not.
Buy it right now.
Put that deposit down. You still are reserving it. That doesn't mean that you have to keep it on this particular one, even though it's something we were debating whether we would have in the shop. I think it's something we will still eventually sell. But if you are interested in a high-end, higher-end left-handed mandolin, I think that would be a really good go-to. Again, I talked to David Harvey at Gibson. Said, okay, now with this new launch of only 2 models, you got the 1923 reissue and the F5G, will you be making any left-handed? And he said, probably not. He said it's not as easy as just putting the scroll on the other side. All the jigs need redone. All the graduations flip to the other side. The bracing flips to the other side, but that doesn't mean just flipping things. You have to like completely reprogram, and they use CNC machines for a lot of their initial cuts of things. So they have to reprogram the entire thing to flip everything for the left-handed graduation. You have to flip all the nuts, the bridges as well. But the graduation is actually graduated a little thicker normally on the bass side than it is on the treble side to really get you the most tone out of the instrument. So it's not as easy as just saying, all right, let's put the scroll on the other side. Or we have some people often, they'll buy a right-handed one and say, can you guys just put a different nut on this and flip it around for me? It doesn't really work. It's not braced correctly for it, especially in guitars. They're just not, the X braces normally shifted a little bit more to that bass side to be able to have that extra tension. You flip all the strings around, you're pulling more tension than is intended, and it's not a good outcome, and it's probably not going to sound very good either. I still recommend if you're just starting out to start out, make yourself learn how to play right-handed. I know that sounds rude and weird, but neither hand is really set. It's just like there's no right-handed and left-handed pianos. You have to learn to play a piano. It's not left or right-handed. The same should kind of be said for a stringed instrument. You're learning how to hold a pick, which is awkward in either hand. You're learning how to make your fingers do things that are awkward in either hand. So if you're starting out from awkward anyway, if you can train yourself, start with a right-handed, you get so many more options on playing and buying instruments. And if you go to your friend's house, they're probably going to have a right-handed instrument, and it'll make things easier on you.
Thoughts on the Lore brand mandolins?
We've talked about the Lores. I think they make some really good instruments, and then they make some not so good instruments. That has been my biggest issue, is just consistency. That's why I really love Eastman, is they're still hand voicing every instrument, even in that low price point, and they've just gotten really good at consistently putting out very good instruments on a regular basis. The Lore, I will get some in that are just rock stars and some in that are duds, and that's because they're doing more of a standardized, every top is treated the same, they're all going to be cut to the same thickness. We don't care how dense the piece of wood was. We don't have time to go through and graduate them. The finish is also a little thick for my taste, but like I said, I've gotten some in that are really good quality instruments that you're getting a much nicer gloss finish on those. The bound fretboard extension, and there's some people that just rave about them. Not a bad sounding instrument at all. If I tune it. So it is a good option. We've sold quite a few of these. I still, when I normally put them up next to a Eastman, the Eastman normally wins out, but this one's coming in at $5.99, and the Eastman's lowest end, which is just the satin finish, no binding on the back and sides. You're not getting some of the extra appearance factor with this. It goes for $9.19, so a substantial difference, $300 difference on those. Appearance-wise, I say the wind goes to lower. It looks much nicer, I think. I do get some people that just like that natural, plain, stained wood look and satin finish of the Eastman. But tone-wise, I think if you're going for tone and playability, the Eastman normally wins out. But different people are looking for different stuff. Some people they really want the appearance and feel of that one. The tone and playability may not be the main motivating factor, as surprising as that might sound. But yeah, it's something, we don't carry anything in the store that we don't believe in. So we've tried out some mandolins, we've tried out some guitars, and we're like, this just isn't fitting. You might have seen the video we did on lava guitars. We really were excited about those. Initially, they looked like a very cool instrument. Then we started to see some issues with them. We had some returns and some issues that we weren't really happy with. So we said, all right, let's make a video saying we made a mistake. This isn't the right brand for our shop. I think they've made some improvements since then, and we may revisit them again. But same thing with mandolins. We've had some in here that we've tried out, and it's just like, this really isn't to the standard that we feel comfortable selling to our customers, so we don't carry them in here. So everything we do have in the shop, you can believe that I personally have tried out the mandolins. John's tried out the guitars. Banjos, we've had Dad try them out. We try them out. We want to make sure everything kind of is up to our standard, because we don't want people getting an instrument for two reasons. One, it's a bad experience for them, but we'll also get them returned to us. We do about 70% of our sales online, and if we mail an instrument clear across the country and it is a dud, that's going to get sent back to us rightfully, and that's an expense that we don't really want to have. So we make sure we carry instruments that we believe in, including the lower. I like long answers. I'm not good at these long. It could have just been, yeah, they're good, but not me. No.
That would be quite a live.
Yeah, that's quite a live yes and no answers to all your questions.
That'll be our next one.
That'll be our shop talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anybody else commenting or questioning? Or I still haven't heard how cold you guys had it.
It looks
That Buffalo
pretty
game
cold.
looked crazy. Where the Kansas City game, nuts. I had some friends that went to it. There were a lot of people around there giving away tickets because they didn't want to sit out in that cold. But I had some friends that went to that and actually took their shirts off in the sub, like 11 below zero and 40 below zero wind chill. But that Buffalo, New York game, that looked crazy where people were shoveling out their seats. So
I did see somebody
how was it where
bragging
you were?
earlier, saying it was 65 degrees where they are.
Nice. I hope that's California because that's where I'm going next week.
Yeah, can we go there?
Yay! We're going to be right across the street from Disney World. Janelle is very determined she's going there. I'm telling her no, she's not. But we may lose her. If there's a live stream and nobody's answering your questions, it's
That's
because
why.
she's
I've
hanging out
never
with
been
Mickey
to a
Mouse.
Disney park before.
I haven't either. Actually, I take that back. We went to Epcot Center as teenagers, and I think I got more out of Universal Studios at that age. I've had a lot of people saying you got to bring your kids there. I just think the whole experience of standing on hot asphalt and waiting in line with kids that really get excited for the first hour being there, and then the whininess starts and my legs hurt starts, and why are we standing in this line? And no, thank you. And then pay like $10 million to go there. I'll go to the Grand Canyon. That's my plan.
I haven't been there either.
Yeah,
You gotta
it's
take
worth
me
it.
places.
No lines and no hot asphalt, but a giant hole. And admission's only like $50 for the whole car, so worth it.
Apparently, Matt says it's between -15 and -25 for the past week.
Yeah, I'm going to quit whining. We did have, we're from Missouri. We actually got a phone call yesterday from City Utilities saying, due to the extreme low temperatures, natural gas supply is being interrupted. We ask that you turn off any appliances that you do not need running and keep your temperatures lower. I actually, in 2020, my wife and I bought our first house, and it has a really nice fireplace on it that initially we had like these vents on the side, and we're like, I guess that helps the fireplace. And then all of a sudden one day we had the fire cranking, and these fans kicked on, and it's blowing hot air out of the thing. This thing has a built-in heat unit above it that once it gets hot enough, it blows air through that. We've heated our house in these sub-zero degree days for the last 4 or 5 days just from that fireplace, which has been really nice. But also brings me to my next thing. Make sure you're humidifying your instruments, guys. I made sure all my cases had fresh Boveda packs in them because that hot fireplace really dries out a house. I think we were at like 20% humidity the other day when I checked it. So dangerous for your instruments. We're going to do a test. We're filming a test on what happens to your guitar in sub-degree temperatures. Believe me, we're not going to damage any usable guitars. These are broken instruments to begin with. But we're going to see what happens to the finish on them. We're going to try to film that and see how that turns out for you guys. Might as well make something out of this cold weather, huh? All right, are we about done?
I think we've gone pretty long.
I've made these long answers to all the questions I have. But yeah, if you guys have ideas of things you want to see at the NAMM show, go to NAMM.org. Go to the 2024 show, and it has attendees, a link for that. You'll see who's going to be at the show. And if there's one of those booths, it's pretty fun to just peruse how many really cool manufacturers, most of them outside of our wheelhouse. You have drum manufacturers and tons of electronics, synthesizers and all kinds of cool stuff there that I don't understand any of, and I stay away from that side of the hall. But if there's anything in the acoustic world that you guys see there that you would like us to go check out, let us know. Maybe there's something we overlooked in that long list of thousands of vendors. We'd love to go by and discover something new. So have us check those out. If we don't already have it on the list, we're going to try to make that happen. But make sure you're tuning in. We're going to send out an email of the schedule, and tune in all week long because we're going to be going live. If you haven't subscribed to our channels already, subscribe to YouTube, like us on Facebook, and turn on your notifications so that your phone will tell you, hey, the Acoustic Shop is going live right now, because we will be doing some flash giveaways and some flash prizes from the show, some really interesting stuff there. This may be the first time that anybody's seen the Klaus mandolin, so that's going to be really cool to tune in for that. John, is it Klaus or Klaus? Klaus.
I have been told it's close.
Close. It's a close one. It's a close one.
Positive. We will find out at NAMM.
Yeah. And guys, this year our hashtag is going to be NAMM it. NAMM it. We're going to be namming it the entire week long, and namming it is not going to be fun. Lots of fun at NAMM. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for Shop Talk at noon, and we'll be taking your requests. I should be in attendance tomorrow, I believe, so I am not dead again this week. I will see you tomorrow. Sorry, Trent, you've been fired. Thanks for filling in for me last week.
We have a request to pan the walls before we go out.
All right, pan all the walls?
Pan all the walls.
All right, Trent, circle pan. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week or tomorrow.
Hey, Jamie. So I've got a potential purchase
My mic
order.
might still be on.
What was